Yes, I understand that. You are still going to have some protections with your LLC, but I like to cross, all the T's, dot the I's. Is that the term? So eventually you will have a holding company. But that elaborate setup ain't needed until you make some money. That's what nobody's telling us. I think Glenn Cameron was the only one saying it. He was saying that you don't need all this elaborate setup. You ain't making no money. People right out the gate. And a lot of, even me in the past, I've said that you should do a holding company first. And if you're not doing transportation, you actually could do that, because you could technically set up an LLC just as a software publisher, and only do online stuff if that's the field you're in, or e-commerce. But I like to just get some money going. I think you should keep it simple. This is for purposes of making money, building credit fast. You're funding it with the money you're already making. So a lot of you might be thinking, well, how do I get the $5,000? You should be already making some money. Remember, you're bringing in other ways of bringing in money later, to get to that $5,000 a month. By the time you get to $5,000 a month, banks will already be giving you offers. Put it that way. If you have an anchor bank like Chase and you got $5,000 a month steady going in, even if you're paying yourself out you're probably going to start getting offers. And if you got a couple affiliate dollars going in, it should be not hard to make at least $4,000 a month, which will still keep you in there where you can still borrow money. And I would only try to get lines of credit that they don't charge you until you use the line of credit. But credit cards, if you get a $50,000 credit card and that helps you go buy a vehicle to put a driver in it, that works. I'm not going to recommend that right out the gate, but that works. You'll see people will start offering you money, throwing money at you when you got $5,000 a month coming in steady. And now you're not relying on just Uber and Lyft now. You know why? Because by the time you're making $5,000 a month, you'll probably have at least 2 other drivers other than yourself. From those 2 other drivers, you should be making a minimum $200 a day. You should be bringing in at least $100 a day. That's a 6-figure business right there. You should be getting lines of credit, corporate and business, to the point where you can go out and buy more cars, more drivers, start a rental business without Turo. I'm thinking about doing that with the same LLC, not on a grand scheme. You got to remember, you don't have to do a grand scheme, because if you rent out 4 or 5 cars, now you got a full-time job. You can rent out 1 vehicle to an Uber driver. He pays you $97 a day. He pays you direct. You don't need Turo. You go and share your own cars. You got money coming in. You got 2 other drivers on the road. Y'all hitting each other up with walkie-talkie. Next thing you know, you got a government grant to start your own app. Now you're competing with Uber and Lyft. You gotta think big, guys. You gotta think big. If you don't think big, you're never gonna do anything other than be a worker bee, and just every day clocking in these apps. And you could do, if you love delivery, this is perfect. Roadie, courier apps. This is the busy season. Right now, this is the busy season. By this time next year, when Uber is even slower, you could go buy a cargo van with corporate credit. That's credit that you didn't even have to use your social for, because the business has so many lines of credit, it can now have its own corporate credit. Now you can go buy another cargo van. Now you got a full-fledged courier business within the same LLC.